Greetings, everyone. It's Dustin with the Listening Room. I know it has been a long time since I've posted anything music talk related. Have shared some videos from the shows I've attended in the recent months and road trips and stuff like that. It is fantastic to have live music back. I've seen The Offspring, most recently Primus on their Tribute to Kings tour, where they play Rush's Farewell to Kings album in its entirety. It was a phenomenal show. Really cool band called Black Mountain opened that show. I saw Willie Nelson's Outlaw Music Festival with Tyler Childers and Sturgill Simpson, Government Mule. That was a great time. Saw Blue Oyster Cult back at the beginning of the summer. And it's just really great to have live music back again. I missed it so. But yeah, since we did a album review or any music talk like that, it has been a really long time. So I wanted to come back with something that I've talked about doing for a long time, but never have actually done until now. And that is a ranking video. You guys know how these work. I'm sure you've seen them before. We take a specific artist, we look at their studio discography, and we rank them from least favorite to most favorite. And as you probably already see down in the description of this video, today we are doing San Francisco heavy metal legends Metallica. Not a terribly large discography considering how long the band has been around. They do have a lot of releases that aren't studio releases, like the Garage Incorporated, which I guess you could consider a studio release, but it's a covers album. And then we have the S&M, we have Binge and Purge, and things like that. We have the collaboration album with Lou Reed, and but when we talk about studio releases by this band, they only have 10, and so we're going to take a look at them now. Don't bitch. These are how I enjoy these albums, okay? Not how you enjoy them, not how you're supposed to enjoy them. They're how I enjoy them and what they mean to me. So instead of saying, "Oh, I can't believe you put blah, blah, blah," well, that's because that's how I feel about the album. So drop how you feel about them down in the comments, If, if Saint Anger is your favorite album of all time, that's great. Let me know. Let me know why. Because that's what this is all about: music community and sharing our thoughts and feelings about these bands and about these records. So let's dive right into it. Metallica, legendary band, celebrating their 40th anniversary this year. They have all these Black Album reissues coming out, or that have already come out. They put out a huge box set, and there's all this stuff with the Blacklist, which is really cool. I highly recommend you check out at least some of that. All the different artists covering the Metallica tracks from the Black Album. There's some really cool ones on there. Some really awful ones on there too, but it's definitely worth checking out. So Metallica doesn't need any more of an introduction. You guys know who they are. They're one of the biggest bands of all time, not just in heavy metal, but in music, period. So let's dive right in, all right? A lot of people love this one. A lot of people called this Metallica's comeback album. I did not love it. I still don't love it. I think it sounds like the band trying way too hard. I think the songs are repetitive and way too long. And for me, there's just not a whole lot that I enjoyed on Death Magnetic. I really do enjoy All Nightmare Long. The Day That Never Comes is kind of cool. I guess The Unforgiven 3 is okay, but that's about it. Rick Rubin producing on this one, which I don't think helped the band's cause at all. Just not an album that I really enjoy. Came out in a really bad point in my life too, so that could be, a lot of the reason why I don't look favorably upon this release. But yeah, man, somebody's got to come in at the bottom, and I'm sure everybody was expecting Saint Anger, but nope. For me, it's this one. This is the bottom of the Metallica heap for me, Death Magnetic. Moving along, number 9. No, it's Reload. I was a big fan of Load. A lot of people weren't. I liked it. And I remember when this came out. Do you remember when record stores used to stay open, and you could hang out until midnight and buy the release when it came out? That's what I did with this. We used to have a store here called Planet Music that later changed to an FYE and now is, I think, a bridal shop. But anyway, when this came out, the store stayed open until midnight, and they had pizza, and the radio station was there, and I did a classic album review of this on the channel a while back and talked about that. There are some Metallica, I guess, I don't know if I'd call them classics, but some staples, we'll say. Fuel's on here. And then actually one of my favorite like Load era songs, The Memory Remains, is on this, but there's just too many unmemorable tracks, and just feels like a lot of leftovers, which I don't know if it necessarily was. I know these songs were written and recorded around, at the same time of Load, but I don't know. This is just never one that I throw in. So there you go. Number 9, Reload. All right, number 8. Here it is. Saint Anger. I don't hate this record nearly as much as most people do. As you can see, this is still a sealed copy. I actually have a burned copy of this CD that I've had since this thing came out, which was 2003. So we're talking 18 years. I've had this burn CD, so anytime I want to hear Saint Anger, I just listen to my burn and keep this one in good shape. I love that they use Pusshead for the artwork on this. I miss the that kind of Black Album Injustice for All Pusshead artwork, but not nearly as bad as people make it out to be. Yeah, the snare drum sounds like shit, but I mean, come on. There are some cool songs on here. I feel that there's some cool songs on here, and maybe one day I'll open this up, because it actually does come with a DVD where the band plays the album in full. If you've never seen that, it's worth a watch. But Frantic, the title track, Invisible Kid, Sweet Amber, all within my hands. There's some cool tunes on this. It gets a bad rap. All right, coming in for my next spot, I'm going to go with the newest Hardwired to Self-Destruct. I like this record, man. I think it has it's kind of a mixed bag. There's some thrashy songs on here, but then there's also some groovy tunes on here, like thrash stuff like Hardwired, the title track, and Moth into Flame, and then you have like Dream No More is one of my favorites. It's kind of like The Thing That Should Not Be Part 2. Am I Savage is another really groovy one, and then you have just the Fast and Furious Spit Out the Bone. I really enjoyed this album. I think it's awesome, and yeah, good record. Good record. All right, next up on my list. Ew, it's blood and semen. It's Load. This was pretty divisive when it came out. A lot of people hated it. A lot of people loved it. It introduced Metallica to a whole new crowd. I remember they headlined Lollapalooza when they put this record out. I saw them on that tour. Some huge Metallica songs on here. King Nothing, probably the biggest one. Until It Sleeps, Hero of the Day, Bleeding Me, fantastic tune. The Outlaw Torn, Ronnie, awesome. Yeah, I really like it. Sees Metallica experimenting with different sounds and going in different directions, and definitely adopting a new look. This is not what they look like at all on the prior album, but things change, people change, and I thought Load was an awesome album. Still do. All right, so what do we got? Number five. And these are all, this list could, you could ask me this list a month from now, and it might be different. But for the sake of making it, and for the sake of the albums that I put on and I listen to, this is how we're doing them today. So next up, I'm going with the debut. Kill 'Em All came out in 1983. We got Hit the Lights. Just so, I mean, this album is just filled with classics. Hit the Lights, The Four Horsemen, Motor Breath, Jump in the Fire. Then you got Cliff Burton's crazy Anesthesia, Pulling Teeth bass, Whiplash, Seek and Destroy, No Remorse. Just a solid album, an awesome album, and from a hungry band, you know. Some of Dave Mustaine's writing on this album. This is the remaster. I like that they did like these little kind of paper sleeves for them. I don't know, it's kind of weird. I like my hard shell jewel cases, but whatever. Just a classic record. Classic record. I mean, they still play so many of these songs live today. And it's killer, man. Good stuff. All right, up next, one of the, other than Load, probably the most divisive album in the Metallica discography, and one that is celebrating its birthday. It's the Self-Titled, also known as the Black Album. There's a lot of glare on that. I also have the, let me grab it from over here. Sorry. This won't glare as much. This is the 3-disc reissue of this that came out not too long ago. They put out a big mammoth box set as well. But this is, I thought this was pretty cool, and I thought it was enough. Some cool photography in here too that you never seen before. Like that right there, really cool shot. But I mean, whether you love it or whether you hate it, you can't deny that this, the hugeness of this album from Metallica. I mean, having their biggest hits, got a plane flying over, sorry. I mean, Metallica's biggest songs were featured on this album: Enter Sandman, Sad But True, Wherever I May Roam, Nothing Else Matters, The Unforgiven, all those songs, just absolute monsters for the band. And then the deeper album cuts, that's where the real treasure lies for me with this album, is the deeper cuts, like My Friend of Misery or Through the Never, and especially Of Wolf and Man. It's my favorite track from the Black Album. I love it. And back earlier when I was saying that you should check out the Metallica Blacklist album, there is a, I don't know if you'd want to call it country. It's kind of, just has like this kind of Appalachian folk kind of vibe. But anyway, it's this duo, I think it's a duo, whatever, they're called Goodnight Texas. They do Of Wolf and Man, and in my opinion, it's the best cover on the whole project. But the Black Album, short songs, tighter songs, and they sold a gazillion copies of this thing, man. And it's a classic album. It is a classic album. Up next, now these next two could flip-flop on any given day, but for the sake of the list today, this is how we're going to do them. So coming in at number 3, And Justice for All. And this is the just like the Black Album version that I showed just now. This is the kind of triple disc version of this that they did when the box set came out, which I also own. It's the only box set of Metallica's that I own. But damn, what a monster this album was. I mean, progressive thrash almost could be considered. I mean, the song lengths on here, we got 9 minutes, 7 minutes, 9 minutes, 6 minutes pushing 7, 9 tracks, just killer. I know people complain about the bass or the lack of bass, I guess, but that's how the band wanted to put it out, and it's fucking amazing. I mean, Blackened, the title track, Eye of the Beholder, won Metallica's first big hit, their first music video, Short of Straw, Harvester of Sorrow, just crushing, The Frayed Ends of Sanity, To Live Is to Die, Cliff Burton, Dire Z, just an absolute awesome album full of insane guitar work, insane changes and time signatures, and it's awesome. It's a masterpiece. It really is. And like I said, this could flip-flop with my number 2. depending on what day you ask me. What is my number 2? Probably a lot of people's number 1. I know it's a lot of people's number 1, and rightfully so. It is an absolutely crushing, legendary slab of American heavy metal, talking about Master of Puppets. Every song on this thing slays. Every single one. Battery, Master of Puppets. The absolutely devastating, the thing that should not be, Welcome Home Sanitarium, Disposable Heroes, the super groovy Leper Messiah, the fantastic instrumental Orion, and then closing it off with the devastating Damage Incorporated. Cliff Burton's last album with the band. Just an absolute classic. I mean, look at that iconic cover. Just absolutely killer. And the title track on here, something that's still played live all the time, as is Battery. Thing that should not be. One of my favorite Metallica songs. I know it's not one of the most technical Metallica songs, but it is just absolutely crushing, and with the H.P. Lovecraft inspired lyrics, it's just, I love it. I absolutely love it. Number 2, Master of Puppets. So, you know what that means. My pick for top Metallica album, Ride the Lightning. This, to me, is not only the best Metallica album, this is one of the best metal albums ever. It's one of the best albums ever. I mean, every track on this thing, front to back, Fight Fire with Fire, Ride the Lightning, For Whom the Bell Tolls. I mean, all these songs the band plays live today. Fade to Black, Creeping Death, Escape, which I know the band wasn't too fond of. I think they've only played that song once, and it was at I think it was a festival where they played this album in its entirety, and they even joked when they got to it, like, oh, here's the one that we said we'd never play. But I love Escape. I think it's awesome. Jet Noise, not awesome. And then the album finishes off with the absolutely amazing instrumental, The Call of Cthulhu. Absolutely classic Metallica. And again, that album cover. Do you get any more iconic than that blue electric chair and that kind of glowing white font? You don't. You can't. It's awesome. So there you go. That is my Metallica ranking. Death Magnetic, Reload, Saint Anger, Hardwired to Self-Destruct, Load, Kill 'Em All, Spinal Tap, the Black Album, and Justice for All, Master of Puppets, and the legendary Ride the Lightning. How would you rank these albums? Let me know down in the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button.